So I've just travelled up to the place I'm going to get my car dyno tuned. It was a big run, couple of hours drive, and I loaded it up, the car, plenty of times, gave it heaps, everything's running fine. Just with this dyno run, it's a bit of a tune for our big trip up the Cape. Make sure everything's sweet, but also just to show you guys what outputs we're getting. And I guess in a way it's good data just with the head. Yeah, what can the head handle? It's obviously, you know, in the grand scheme of things, guys with TDs, it's low, but it's more than factory, so that'll be good info. Anyway, I'll head in and get this dyno done, and then we can go over the dyno sheet and see what the outputs are. So I've finished the dyno run. Just thought I would share the results with you. So I'll just flick the camera around. So this is the run sheet when I first got the car. So before I'd done any work on it. So fairly good power curve, maxed out at 93.1 horsepower. By the way, I don't really know how to interpret a dyno sheet. So that was before I did any mods to the car. And then here's the one from the other day. So it maxed out at 160 horsepower, but I did have a bit of problems with my power curve, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I think we'll figure it out just with a bit of just breaking it all down and working back through everything. I'll take you over to the car and just, obviously when they did the dyno run, like I was just paying for the run, not for a tune. But the mechanic was kind enough to just offer a few suggestions. So I'll just take you over to the car and show you those. So one of the things that he suggested, I don't know if you remember my fuel filter setup before, but it had another filter here off these bolts, and that was a water trap. So basically you had your algicide filter down here, then it went through the water trap filter, and then it went through the sediment filter, and then it went to the fuel pump. And he suspected that that was one of the causes for the curve on the dyno run being like it was, that it was starving for fuel. So what I've done is I've just dropped the water trap one. I've kept the algicide one because really it's actually just an empty case with magnets in it, so I can't imagine how that would restrict fuel. And then we've got just the ordinary sediment filter. So that was one of the reasons why the horsepower is a bit down, and the curve was. So the way I understand it is your curve should sort of just be steadily going up and then flatten out just right at the end. Possibly more like that one, but more of a curve. And the other thing that he raised was this intercooler is really an unknown quantity, and it truly is. It's just one of those cheap eBay jobs. It's been heavily modified already, like the outlet used to be here, but it's been blanked off, and then a new outlet there. Even my air intake is stock, so I've got to rethink that whole part of it. I'd really like to get, I don't know, one of those cross-country type ones and have it further back, so I can easily get to my oil fill. My air intake is fine. That's a 4-inch snorkel in with a big Hino filter, and then the Kinigawa turbo. So everything I think on this side is fine. So I think my problems start with the intercooler and my air intake. There's a bit of fuel starvation. So I reckon if I went back now that I've rectified the fuel filter situation, I would have a better curve and probably higher horsepower. But that's a pretty good jump. I'm happy with that. I went from 93.1 horsepower to 160 horsepower. And it does haul, like towing and what have you. It's just fantastic. So that's the results from my dyno run.